G'day, Brett Marley here at the Tilford Trade Clearance Centre, where I'm surrounded by acres of cars. Cheap cars and cheap commercials. Hobart's original trade clearance centre here at 56B Gormanston Road has so many cars, it's hard to know where to start. The huge, and I mean huge, range of cars comes from trade-ins at our city yards. So there's plenty to choose from, and some of them start from as low as $1,000. That's right, $1,000. Now that's a cheap car. Now look, here's something pretty amazing. You might have driven past the Tilford Trade Clearance Centre 1,000 times without even knowing that it's here. But that's because they want to keep the overheads low so they can pass the savings on to you. You know, they don't want to impress you with a showroom in the CBD that looks like a modern art gallery. They're just serious about cars. There's no street frontage, no lavish offices, no neon signs, and no fancy gimmicks. Just cheap cars and cheap commercials. And lots of them. Just look for our little green Merc out the front. Remember, not every car we have is on the internet. Many of the best bargains sell the day they arrive. If you want to know about our latest bargains, call the Tilford Trade Clearance Centre hotline on 62 73 8533. You know that if you're buying a car from Tilford, it's going to be a quality vehicle. So visiting the Tilford Trade Clearance Centre should always be your first step to buying a used car. Finance is available to approved customers. So call the hotline now to check out our cheap cars and cheap commercials. And here at 56B Gormanston Road, there are so many cheap cars and cheap commercials that you're sure to find a vehicle that suits your needs. Just take a stroll through the acres of cars we have out here at Moona, and you'll see that there really is no better yard in Hobart if you're looking for cheap cars or cheap commercials. Visit the Tilford Trade Clearance Centre at 56B Gormanston Road, Moona today, or call us on the hotline 62 73 8533. Just look for our little green Merc.